Hello everyone. This is Ankit.Sharma and you are watching Bharat EV Talks, a podcast series by All India EV. This is the eighth episode, and in this episode we have Mr. Vibhor from Belectriq. Hello sir, thank you for giving your time and coming on this podcast.
Hi Ankit, pleasure talking to you.
So sir, can you take us through your journey? You are, I mean, currently at Belectriq. Before that, you were into Pitwa and Velocity, and totally different kind of a business model. So, can you take us through your entire journey of reaching to this EV market?
Sure. Yeah. So I did my BTech from IIT Kharagpur in 2006. Then I did MBA from XLRI, and then basically I jumped into the financial sector, uh,
Yes.
into the consulting and sales. So I spent more than a decade in enterprise sales in India and Middle East.
Mhm.
And then during so when I was in actually in Middle East, I got very much interested in the Indian startup sector. So if you see, the Indian startup sector was in prime during that period. A lot of my
Yes.
friends were doing startup. They were
Mhm.
doing quite well. I
Mhm.
also tried my hand in investing in some of the startups. Some of them
Okay.
are actually doing well. Uh,
Oh, great.
and then I also felt the need to come back to India and be part of this wave.
Okay.
And but it's not easy to do so when you are already earning good money outside India, right?
Mhm.
But COVID happened, and that was a good push to be closer to your family at home.
Mhm.
And that's when I came back. We started connecting with my friends. Initially, I worked with few startups in India,
Mhm.
helping them with their sales and marketing strategy. And then at
Mhm.
the same time, Shwetank, who was my batchmate in IIT Kharagpur and good friend, was working on this idea for EV charging. And we debated and brainstormed a lot about it. And then when I found that this is the perfect time to join this industry,
Mhm.
it was also close to the good cause of environment, etc. So I joined it, and even though it's a different field, but the journey is same.
Of course.
My experience of enterprise sales uh,
Mhm.
comes handy in this as well. So yeah, so it's like connecting the dots. And since I joined this industry, it has been a very good experience. I learned a lot, and if you see, everyone is new in this industry, so
Of course.
so that way uh, it doesn't matter much. And we have done a very good job in terms of building and manufacturing. So what we do here is basically we manufacture EV chargers. We supply
Mhm.
to various charge point operators who set up at
Mhm.
various locations. And
Mhm.
we one of the key focus is on uh, localized content or make in India.
Of
So,
course.
right, so we have built up this technology ground up. We try
Okay.
to use as much as local components
Mm,
available in India. We work with local,
mm.
and then we build these chargers. So yeah, it has the entire experience so far has been quite good.
That's perfectly amazing to know. I think in the recent budget, it was discussed to have the local content in the products, in the chargers, in the vehicles. So yeah, government is also pushing the same. It's really amazing to see the companies are taking that very seriously. This is going to boost not just the overall market but the manufacturing sector of India as well, because for a very long time India has been a service based industry,
Yeah.
service sector and more of a software based economy. But thanks to the EV market, now the trend is shifting toward the hardware manufacturing as well. So before talking about the kind of chargers Belectriq has presented in the Indian market or maybe presenting in the future, I would like to take a detour about the thing which is happening with from a very long time. I think for last 1.5 year, the standardization is being brought in the EV market, be it batteries, be it charger connectors. I spoke to a couple of battery manufacturers. I spoke to a couple of other peoples as well, and the thing which came up is like they are even not sure. Like some of them are concerned about it will restrict the innovation. and the R&D, and some are saying it will good for the market, it will help in the market growth. What's your take on that?
Yes, so it's a very important point, and we have been discussing these issues with policymakers,
Hmm.
certification bodies,
Hmm.
because if you see globally, like even the market like Europe, they everyone has followed a standardization policy, right?
Of course.
Right. But in India, we left it to market forces in the beginning.
Hmm.
So if you see, lot of connectors started popping up. So all the EV OEMs were building the products based on their own connectors or the technology
Hmm.
from where they have imported. So if it was imported from Europe, the connector was European. If it was imported
Hmm.
from Chinese, it was GBT
Of
connector and
course.
so forth.
Hmm.
So, but this is thing is not sustainable in long run, right?
Hmm.
So because then you can't expect all kinds of EV charging stations to be there everywhere. So like we,
Hmm.
it happened in mobile industry that eventually we settled on two type of connectors, and now
Hmm.
Europe has made it mandatory to shift everyone on a Type C connector, right? Even
Of
the
course.
Apple. So the same way now we are settling in into some types of connectors. It is not
Hmm.
possible to have one connector for all kind of a situation, because in India, unlike in Europe or Western markets where you primarily have cars, in India
Hmm.
we basically have all kinds of vehicles: two wheeler, three wheeler, four wheeler, buses.
Hmm. Of
So
course.
the technology of charging all kinds of vehicles depending on their voltage, battery
Hmm.
size, etc., it can't be same. So we have multiple type of connectors in different segments, but now more or less we are standardizing. So if you see the four wheeler, we have CCS2 way connector. It has
Hmm.
more or less become a standardized thing. In two wheelers, on slow charging we have normal port, and in fast charging, we government has now introduced two standards.
Of
So
course.
with regards to battery swapping, unfortunately, so far, industry there has been a lot of industry call on battery swapping policy
Hmm.
standardization, but we believe it is very difficult to do so because it's a very fast changing industry, and it's
Hmm.
not possible for any government body to standardize the form factor or the battery chemistry at this early
Of course.
stage of this industry. It is
Hmm.
easy to at least standardize the connector, right, of
Of
vehicle
course.
and this. But
Yes.
to talk about the battery, it is very difficult to standardize. There have been a lot of innovations happening globally in this industry.
Hmm.
So because of that reason, we have not seen any standardization so far.
Hmm. Okay, great. So, can you take us through what all products Belectriq is, offering to the Indian market, and if there are something in the pipeline for the future with new tech and solution? Like I was speaking to one of a charger manufacturer in past, and I got to know that they are also integrating the energy management solution, which can track the power consumption from the load and overall load. It can manage the entire load of the entire premises. So that, because in India we don't talk about the power consumption, we just talk about the power generation. We need more power, just generate it more. But we have not thought that much on balancing our consumption. So what all product Be Electric is launching in the market, and if there is something we can see in the future with new tech.
Definitely. So we are a full stack provider in terms of all kinds of chargers. So we do all AC chargers from 3.3 kilowatt to up to 44 kilowatt, and they
Mhm.
vary by connector types, and they
Of
vary
course.
by number of connectors. So you can have a single
Mhm.
connector charger, double connector charger,
Mhm.
or triple connector
Mhm.
charger, depending on the need be. So we do all kinds of combinations in AC chargers, and in DC chargers we are primarily focusing on CCS2 chargers, uh,
Okay.
with starting from ratings of 30 kilowatt, 60 kilowatt, 120, and 240. So now we are
Sure.
working on a design of 360 kilowatt as well. In
Okay.
terms of functionality, so this was more about rating, but if you see the functionality, the generation one EV charging in infra in India was basic. The basic need was that the charger should work, it should generate billing, and it should be a smart charger. You can track
Of
the
course.
charger, etc. But the generation two charger globally and in India, where we are also prepared to move to the generation two chargers. Uh, will require a lot of advanced features. So one of them is
Hmm.
something called dynamic load balancing, which,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is our, we have already built in the beta version, where basically if you are having multiple chargers and the load is not available, you can reduce the demand on the charger. You can distribute it the way you like, and so forth,
Hmm.
right? So for example, if you have a load of 10 kV at home, but in the night you are running a lot of ACs, so you
Of
don't
course.
want your charger to suck all the load. So basically, you can divide and manage it. There are advanced features on how you authenticate. So one feature is called auto charge, which we have launched this year. Basically, if on DC charger your car, the charger can automatically recognize your car the
Okay.
way it works in FASTag. It gets
Okay.
into your Mac ID or in the engine number. And similarly, you don't have to enter your password, authenticate your app, and so it becomes
Hmm.
easier for a better user experience in overall.
Of course.
And it prevents any kind of frauds or identity theft because it recognizes your car. Then there are other features like remote diagnostic, preventive maintenance, which
Hmm.
are coming in next generation chargers.
Hmm.
And the one of the key factor in doing that is all of this has to work hand in hand with the charging app software provider, as well as
Hmm.
with the OEMs of the vehicle, as well
Hmm.
as the discom or the site
Of course.
meter. So if I have to give, so if I have launched a feature, the app on which my chargers are integrated with should also have compatible feature. So the entire
Hmm.
industry is gradually moving towards the generation 2 of EV charging.
Of course.
And everyone I know in the industry is working towards some of the advanced features, and we will start to see these features in field starting
Hmm.
from early next year.
Of course, of course. Yeah, I was reading about the next generation chargers, and I got to know that China has launched something called a 600 kilowatt charger with a power dispenser cube,
Right.
and it has a active liquid flow, active thermal management with liquid flow management system, because that charger will radiate a lot of heat, and it required additional thermal management, unlike the simple chargers which just has, I mean, they have fans for their heat dissipation, but that 600 kilowatt charger is a big charger. So yeah, a lot of things are happening, and as you rightly mentioned in the very first introduction, that this market is very new. So as of now, the level for everyone is almost all same. Everyone has the equal opportunity to play, to do innovation, to present themselves in the market. Eventually, after like let's just say 4 or 5 years, it will start, you know segregating in different part. People will have their own recognition with their own products, but as of now the market is totally open for everyone. Talking about the innovation, we are seeing a lot of innovation in the EV market, be it vehicle, be it charger, be it battery. In the battery segment, a lot of new chemistries are coming up. India is moving towards cell manufacturing as well. Have you came across any such innovation or innovations which you feel like, okay, this is something good, which you felt like, okay, this is really something interesting?
Yeah, so I think definitely the innovations are happening at all fronts. So if you look at
Hmm.
the EV charging front, one of the innovation on which various companies are working is the megawatt charging. Like you said,
Hmm.
600 kV, you can dispense more than 1 megawatt, but it also
Hmm.
requires the vehicle at the other end to be ready to consume 1 megawatt. So the
Yes,
industry will
yes.
move together. Then there are other innovation like Wi-Fi charging. So the way
Hmm.
it has come in mobile, it is the technology is also available and
Hmm.
working for EV charging for vehicles. The
Hmm.
vehicle has to have a receiving device in their vehicle, and then charger. The same chargers can be put on there.
Hmm.
There are other innovations in Europe where they are embedding the coils within the road. So
Okay.
if you are, you can have a charging on the move. So for example, if you want to travel from here to, let's say Rishikesh, the way the
Hmm.
toll gets deducted, similar way your
Hmm.
vehicle can get charged on the move, and the toll gets
Hmm.
deducted. So there are a lot of innovations in charging in Europe. On the EV front, there are a lot of innovations in battery, in terms of
Hmm.
battery density,
Hmm.
battery ability to handle heat, and fast
Mm-hmm.
charge. So there are solid state batteries which are coming. So you will see a lot of innovation in the EV field. The future EVs batteries will be having longer life. They would be more compact, energy density
Mm-hmm.
wise, and they would allow much more fast charging to happen. The liquid
Exactly.
cooling technology in charger, all those things are also possible in India, but
Mm-hmm.
the challenge is whether the vehicles are prepared to take more charge. I cannot push more power than the vehicle is designed to for.
Of
And
course.
then the second is there are efficiency issues with those kind of technologies, but those
Mm-hmm.
chargers have a pump which pumps in the liquid, so the efficiency is questionable. So that technology itself is yet to be proven, but there are a lot of other innovations we are working on. Some of them we can talk about, some of them are still in confidential
Mm-hmm.
stage. So
Yeah,
a lot of
sure.
innovations like mobile charging,
Mm-hmm.
charging on the move, so that if your vehicle is stuck down, you can call like an emergency SOS service and then charge your vehicle. So that is
Mm-hmm.
one thing which will be required definitely in India. Uh,
Of course.
Solar integration based charger. Now
Mm-hmm.
the first generation chargers, there were very few charging stations which run on solar, but
Mm-hmm.
the real purpose is to move towards true sustainability.
Of course.
So in future, clients are looking for chargers which can be integrated with solar. So,
Mm-hmm. Of course. Of
so
course.
that is another innovation that is happening. And then
Yeah.
there are fast charging standards which have been introduced by government. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so we and a couple of other OEMs are working on towards that. So once we have
Okay.
fast charging possible in two wheelers, all kind of two wheelers and three wheelers,
Mm-hmm.
it will further make things easier for them. They will not have to depend on battery swapping.
Of course, of course. The battery manufacturers in India have started using the active flow, liquid flow charging, thermal management solution. I know a couple of companies
Yeah.
uh, who have this solution for heavy vehicles, vehicles three wheeler which are used in logistic and they require fast charging. So they have this integrated solution where while charging when the heat is coming out, it is generating a lot of heat. They are using the active liquid liquid flow system to counterpart that particular heat. In the battery segment, of course, this immersion liquid is coming up for getting out of the heat and making battery more secure. But of course, in the charging, you will see in the future what is happening. You mentioned about the solar powered EV charging station. I was speaking to one of my friend, and we discussed on this particular subject that after, let's just say, 5 8 years, or maybe down the line 10 years, let's just say we have 1 lakh electric cars in a particular city. Let's just say the city is Gurgaon, and we discuss about the same. uh, m- More than 50 or 60% of time, all at least 50% of those vehicles will be charged at the same time, be it evening or the night.
Yeah.
And every vehicle has a big power bank. It has more than 40 kilowatt, 45 kilowatt of capacity, power capacity. And just imagine 50,000 of those vehicles are connected to the grid and taking a lot of power. So will there be a situation where we should be concerned about the grid stability, or we will be reaching to a point where the power is coming from multiple sources, not just the grid, but localized ESS solution, wind energy, solar energy integration? How do you see, as a charger manufacturer, it is going to be your part? How do you see?
No, so it's a very important thing. So definitely, as the consumption of electric vehicle uh, charging increases, grid load will be a major issue. And
Of
as far
course.
as we know, it is already a major issue in large charging stations. For example, there are bus charging stations of 2 megawatt,
Mm-hmm.
5 megawatt, where
Mm-hmm.
uh, which has the potential to destabilize grid.
Okay.
So if you see the globally, there will be a solutions to integrate with grid and manage this. So already
Mm-hmm.
people are talking to discoms to work on such solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Globally also, so discoms will have to coordinate with these EV charging stations
Mm-hmm.
so that these charging stations know in real time what is the load available, how they can manage
Mm-hmm.
it, and
Mm-hmm.
in which part there is excess demand versus excess supply. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely that kind of grid integration will be required at least for large charging hubs.
Mm-hmm.
And in future, there is also a talk of a technology called V2G, vehicle to grid.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
technology was very popular in Japan in case of tsunami. People
Mm-hmm.
could charge or run their homes from their Nissan cars. Okay,
Okay.
Nissan cars enable V2G.
Mm-hmm.
So that's idea is on at early stage in India, where V2G
Mm-hmm.
could be a thing to balance the grid. So if lot of
Mm-hmm.
these cars and batteries can also pump the power in grid, government is
Mm-hmm.
already actually starting on a interesting idea of creating an energy exchange like UPI. It's called UEI,
Yes.
United Energy Exchange, where
Mm-hmm.
there will be a flexible uh, exchange. The way you do UPI payment, you could transfer energy to anyone. So
Mm-hmm.
either you can consume energy from the charging station, or from your car you can supply it to the grid. So
Mm-hmm.
those kind of infrastructure government is already planning, and
Mm-hmm.
we would definitely see some of these things few years down the line.
Yes, yes. I mean, 2 years back, when Government of India released a notification that standalone energy storage solution has been delicensed, at that time I was very new to the EV market. I didn't understand what its significance. I was thinking from the solar point of view, more of a solar point of view. But when I got to know about V2G, and when I started looking at the power consumption of the EVs, and the grid stability, then I understood, okay, why 2 years back Government of India released that particular notification, why 2 years back they delicensed the standalone energy storage solution, because they know there would be a scenario in future where a lot of power will be required to charge this vehicle. And uh, the concept of energy exchange, the energy trading, which is becoming very much popular. I mean, not popular, I say it is coming up as a point of discussion around the globe. Like, people want to discuss about how energy can be used as a trading commodity.
Yeah,
So that thing can be used. I mean, if I have a energy bank at my place, I can sell it power when the requirement is high, the tariff is high. I can sell it to the grid, and the grid can use that power to charge the EV or for other thing as well. Of course, this is the market is going in that way. And uh, it's very essential to connect the dots and understand how it is evolving, so that we can be ready for the future.
exactly. If you see, government also came with a small guideline that all the charging stations should have the capability to set up dynamic pricing at least for day and night. So if you
Yes,
see,
yes.
this is the first step towards the dynamic pricing,
Mhm.
right? So for day and night, for solar timings and non-solar, at least all EV chargers are now capable to set up dynamic pricing.
Of
So that
course, of course.
also is one of the steps towards that kind of era where government is visualizing.
Recently, the budget was introduced, and you have a good experience in the financial market as well. So what you would like to comment on the recent budget in context to the EV market of India?
So, if you see, there were very few specific mention with regards to the EV market in the budget, and the government has kept the view that budget. A lot of the flagship schemes are not announced within the budget, but they are typically announced outside the budget, and budget is general announcement of the ledger of the government. So we believe one of the key flagship scheme fame 3 is on the cards,
Of
and
course.
there have been a lot of statements by the government bodies. We have been lot of government has been inviting a lot of stakeholders, even though
Hmm.
the elections were happening, but we were surprised that we were being invited to government uh, discussions on how to frame the next policies, and
Hmm.
all stakeholders presented their view, and we believe a lot of detailed announcements are to happen in the next leg of FAME 3. Apart from that, there are other demands of the industry, long-standing demands in terms of GST parity, that output GST is 5%, input is 18%. In terms of categorizing this as a priority sector so that we can get the loan for electric vehicles and these
Of
companies.
course.
A lot of other demands in terms of how to boost up the local manufacturing.
Mm.
So all these demands have been noted by government. We also had some of the direct interactions with the government, and then they acknowledged that a lot of these
Okay.
things are on the card. So even though we did not see much of the direct announcements or EV focused announcement, but we are hopeful that within next couple of months we would definitely see some specific announcements which are positive, huge, which
Mm.
will give huge boost to the EV sector, because we believe that the government and especially our Prime Minister Shri Modi ji has kept a view that EV sector is very important for the net zero commitment of India,
Of course.
and that the same view is expressed by different related governments. Right.
Sure.
So we are quite hopeful that these announcements will be there. But nonetheless, we see a lot of action with or without these announcements in the market, and the kind of growth that we are witnessing is phenomenal. Just one
Mm.
thing I think which we have to notice, that we have on the verge of disturbing a very big sector, auto sector. So all this
Yes.
disruption is good for environment. We are doing it. We
Mm.
have to move forward with the world, but we have to make sure that we are protecting the Indian jobs. We are protecting Indian
Of course.
factories. So that's where the government has to maintain balance between both of them.
Yes. So if we see the EV market, I mean, EV is not a traditional automotive industry. Like a traditional automotive industry is some around, it is more of a mechanical engineering
Yeah.
kind of a sector. But if we talk about the EV market, I was speaking to a vehicle manufacturer and we talk about the data points they are collecting. They are collecting how how and where their vehicle is being driven by the drivers, and if that particular location have sufficient charging stations or not. They are collecting that data and sharing it with the charge point operators. Then they are collecting the data how batteries are performing at certain interval of time. Maybe there are roads are not good at that particular interval of time. There is a sudden spike in the battery voltage. So they are collecting that data as well and sharing it with the infrastructure department authorities to, okay, asking them, you have to maintain the infrastructure. uh, you know EV market, in the charger we have software department, we have electrical department, we have mechanical department. So EV is not a traditional automotive industry. It is a kind of a industry, to be frank, once in a lifetime happen where a such industry comes up which has all these segments integrated into one thing. So if there are students, uh, let's say second year, third year of their engineering, be it mechanical, electrical, electronics, CS, so what sort of advice you would like to give to them if they are looking at this market to start their career?
Yes, so you raised a very important point. So we are going through a what we call a revolution at the moment, and if you see the history of mankind, it's have been very few instances where we change the fuel on which
Yes.
we work, right? So we are now shifting a fuel which has huge repercussions in terms of skill sets, in terms of global
Hmm.
politics, and so forth. But if
Hmm.
we talk about the skill set, the entire automotive industry has been becoming more connected, more software driven in the
Hmm.
last 10 years. Even the ICE vehicles, you see,
Hmm.
you can track a lot of movement. The dashboard is very sophisticated electronics dashboard, and there has been a computer driven vehicle and so forth. And if we believe the future vehicles are mostly a software on wheels, that's what some of the
Hmm.
industry experts
Yes, yes,
describe them, right?
that's true.
And the entire automotive industry was banking on the mechanical engineering. And if you see
Hmm.
the big names of today, they are those names who were pioneer in developing the engine. And the
Hmm.
entire automobile industry rotates around the engine or its components. Now you have
Hmm.
taken out that engine and all the components out of the vehicle, and you have introduced something completely new like battery, uh,
Hmm.
etc. So
Powertrains,
yeah,
motors.
so those are completely new, and it is going to disrupt the entire ecosystem to a level which I think it's very difficult to comprehend now. But it's going, since we see in the industry, it is going to be very very revolutionary, because the companies or the people who are in this sector, uh, the skills which will be required in future, it's very difficult to retrain the current workforce.
Hmm.
Very, very difficult, because the skill set that we are looking as electronics, electrical, chemical for battery, uh, and electronics, right? So the current vehicles, if you see, is a powertrain, battery, telematics,
Hmm.
and none of these skills were there in the automotive industry 20 years ago.
Of course.
So definitely all the vendors will change, all the people who will be there in automotive industry will change, and it's a threat as well as an opportunity for the youngsters to enter this kind of industry.
Of
And
course.
those who have entered in this industry at early stage have learned a lot,
Hmm.
and there is a very, very big potential in future in this industry. But at the same time, we have to make sure that the institutes, all the educational institutes, all the vocational training institutes are well prepared to lead our youngsters into a new era of
Of
automobile
course.
automation. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. This was really, very engaging and very informative discussion. Thank you for sharing all these insights with us and with our viewers. It was lovely talking to you.
Yeah, likewise, Ankit, it was always pleasure talking to you. I admire the good work you are doing in spreading the EV awareness in the entire ecosystem. Thanks for having me. Thank you.